the rest of the world is going to undergo something they truly don't understand. And it involves everything on all fronts. It's just so difficult to see, but it's built up to a point right now it's about to burst, like a match is about to be lit. Kind of like these storms that are about to hit America.
Yeah, let's talk about
that. Are about to hit Mexico. They had, last year we talked about hurricanes or hypercanes, right?
Yes.
And they're trying very hard not to call it a hypercane. But do you know, I saw the word hypercane placed. It's on the table. They may have to use it because wind speeds, they're going to have to recalculate and put new formulas in those simulations to come up with more accurate and predictive models of what's happening. They've gotten pretty good with hurricanes, but the ocean temperatures are throwing everything off. And with the expectation of a few volcanic eruptions under the ocean, that's only going to exacerbate the issue of changing these formulas. So we're getting into something. And fires.
Yeah, they're everywhere, and they're getting
worse.
The
dryness is coming in a few places. Lightning is going to become it's a big problem.
Yep.
And people are crazy for the most part. A lot of places, they're going to start fires. You know, some of these people are going to start fires because they hate this country. And so we're going to have fires and floods all over the place. But the winds are going to be deadly. The winds are going to be atrocious. On the oceans as well, they're going to be atrocious. That in combination with other things, but the weather phenomena, Pascal, is beginning to increase at a brand new scale of some sort of exponential outburst of what's happening. Yeah, they're going to have to come up with quite a few terms.
NOAA is predicting a bad year. 19 named storms they believe will happen. They think there will be at least somewhere between 3 to 5 hurricanes that would be 3, 4, or 5 category. They say it's due to the warmth of the ocean and the change of the wind speed.
Yeah.
And you've been talking about this for a long time, to change the wind speed.
Absolutely. And now we're here. Well, kind of like that nor'easter we just had, right?
Yeah.
Nobody talks about a nor'easter in the month of May, but we had one,
It's crazy.
And
look at the tornadoes. I mean, we had so many tornadoes day after day after day. Yeah.
Yep.
What about Italy? What about Italy? Because there is, I was watching this, I believe it was yesterday, but there's been a ton of seismic activity on that underwater volcano that they say if that thing goes, there's no more Italy. I mean, literally saying there would be no more Italy.
No, there won't be any more. And it's unfortunate, Pascal, because with something like that, right, you can't quite predict the exact moment it's going to happen. So they have evacuation orders. Certain places have been evacuated.
Okay.
Other places, it's being determined should they be evacuated. They had to hurry up and get a pope in there because the pope is being consulted on this spiritually. He has some major decisions to make.
Wow.
This will affect the entire globe if it goes. And not just Italy, but the entire globe. It could also offset the water levels all around the earth when it goes.
Really?
So if that goes, all the water levels around the earth are going to be shuffled. Oh yeah.
Would that cause a tilt of the earth? I mean,
it could really increase the tilt of the earth. We already have a tilt. We already have the equator moving. That's been confirmed, and so any type of water distribution like that, it is the element that could tilt the earth big time. Water can do that. Displacement of water can do that. And if that goes, it will most certainly disrupt everything that we do.
Everything. Will it create a long-term winter
the northern hemisphere will be affected for years to come. The USA will likely have about 2 to 9 inches of ash fall all over the place. Well,
the crops
that will be that.
The crops
That'll be,
won't
no,
grow.
they won't grow. They won't grow. And there'll be a permanent haze for about 5 or 6 years. over the northern hemisphere, which means everybody will try to escape to South America.
Millions will
They'll try to
die.
go to South
Millions,
America.
multiple million.
That will change. That will change a lot. And you know what the bad part is? Can't be Flagria or Flagrari. That's one.
Yeah.
But there are some other ones that could go. Right. There's some ocean-born super volcanoes that could also go. And there would be a pyroclastic flow that would come from the ocean
Wow.
in a radius of sorts to all areas. It could do the exact same thing. And so, that's just the time we're living in. And so long as the sun remains volatile and it continues to alter what the Earth and other planets are doing, this is our immediate possibility.
Are we going to experience something we've never experienced before, or is it just reoccurring again after thousands of years?
I think it's both. I think it's cyclical, number one.
Okay.
But there are some new things. In the Bible, it says that in the book of Matthew, it says it'll be the worst time that ever was since the earth was or will be again.
Yes.
So that means it's not comparable to anything, right? It's not comparable to anything. So we're about to go through something no one is. In fact, if it's going to be the worst thing that ever was since the earth was made, then the flood does not compare to it.
This is worse than the flood. Yes.
That's right. The flood is only an example of man's ignorance when he continues to normalize events to live his life. Right? No matter what happens, mankind will say, oh, well, that's normal. Oh, well, that's normal. All the earthquakes we're having, they're normal.
No.
All the floods we're having, they're normal.
No.
All the tornadoes, they're normal. That's what mankind does. They normalize things so they can go have a drink. But this time, there are going to be some final things that come upon us. I don't believe anybody has faced what we're about to face.
Yeah, Jesus does say that in Matthew 24 when he says there'll be a time such as that has never been before nor ever will be.
That's right.
And he talks because they ask him, can you tell us the sign of your coming, the end of the world? And he goes into a lot of things, but that's one he specifically says. He says in Luke that the heavens will be shaken. Okay, that's something. I mean, when that's something, it takes a lot to shake the entire heavens.
That's right. And I believe that means the current stability of the heavens is not going to be there.
Okay.
That means right now the heavens are not shaken, right? The powers of the heavens are not shaken. They're stable. So if the powers of the heavens are shaken, everything is going out of whack.
Yes.
I also believe that the earth is not going to keep its orbit. I don't believe that. I know it would be nice if it would. I don't believe it will. In fact, I'm not the only one that is thinking about that either. And in simulations on some of these more powerful computer systems, the Earth does not keep its orbit. Even if we weren't to incur extra things, the way things are going right now, the Earth is not going to keep its orbit. Believe it or not, the orbit of the Earth has been changing over time, period. It's been changing.
I mean, if the Earth was to completely lose its orbit,
it would look like the heavens are dancing.
Well, wouldn't it also be the end of time? I mean, end of Earth existence?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
In fact, the area that we are in right now, the Goldilocks zone, they call it, right?
Yeah.
It extends for a pretty good period. Now, it would cause extreme temperatures to be on the
what
Earth.
I'm thinking.
It would change the way the light looks. We'd be exposed to different types of gases and everything else. The Earth would still, people would still exist, but life will be different here on this Earth. And that could literally happen. See, there could be, of course, a number of events that can cause that to happen in less than a week. Right? In less than 1 week, the Earth could be thrown out of its current orbit into something else. But as we have some weird gravitational force pulling on the solar system, we're not going to keep our orbit anyway. At some point, it will begin to destabilize the orbit of the sun, or our orbit around the sun, right? It'll destabilize that. Another force acting on the Earth is going to destabilize its current orbit. Simple and plain. It will tug at us on a very specific side at a certain time of the year. It will tug at us, and so much for our orbit, right? Doesn't mean we're all going to die. It just means we're going to have some massive changes. That's what it means.
Yeah.
Massive changes, and quick. Like for example, the earthquake in the Bible that moves every island and mountain out of its place.
Yes.
Okay, that's the entire Earth shifting, right? That's what that is. That's the entire Earth shifting. So, my goodness. So we're going to see it. It's going to happen. It's coming.
We got planes falling out of the sky. All kinds of things are happening, obviously. And I got thinking about the sun. You've talked a lot about it. Something is absolutely, the sun is doing things it's never done before. And there's a reason for this, Mike. Can you help us understand what should we anticipate with the sun? What are the external, literally, are we facing external dangers?
Yeah, I believe that's going to be evident too. We're going to quickly move from talking about these subjects, and people are going to ask one question. Okay. How do I protect my family from what's happening? Yeah. We're going to be in the middle of it, the middle of the, things that are happening, and people are going to say, what do I do to protect my family? The sun, for example, its chemistry is changing, right? They can note that by all the probes on there. It's affecting the entire solar system, but something is also affecting the sun and Jupiter, and at the same time. So they know there's an external influence upon this solar system, and it's pretty consistent as far as where its origin point is and how it affects everything. And those forces are becoming a bit more dramatic each month. Right? It used to be every 10 years they would see the differences. Then it went to every year they would see the differences. Now it's every month they can see the differences. And I believe that's part of a scalar type mathematics, where something or exponential, if you want to see it that way, things will happen faster and faster as these approaches of celestial objects takes place. I do believe we live in a binary. We have a binary system. I believe that. I believe that. Too many ancient people talked about things that are, they're not really popular to look into. But think about something. The ancients documented things just like we do today, right? Yeah. And so a lot of people documented things that don't make sense. Like they had details of Saturn. How can anybody have details of Saturn?
Before telescopes.
They all said something, that Saturn was very close in our skies.
So did that?
They also said that.
Did that mean the Earth had got out of orbit? Or
that means the planets were not in the arrangement they are in now, and that's also going to. There are a few papers that will be published this year that will also be inclusive in, educational literature coming up. But the planets were not always in this arrangement. Right? So there are a few things that are coming out with. Unfortunately, when they find these facts out, nobody else finds them out until about 10 years later. And then they do it by way of publishing peer-reviewed papers first. And then they go through, different associations for print and books. Then everybody else finds out about it. So there are going to be lots of things uncovered. Right, as we learn more and more, we're starting to see a very different picture.
When you say the ancients, they literally documented. They drew pictures of some large.
They did,
and they mentioned. I know Nibiru is actually a word was used by them, but is that because they seen this thing? I mean, they had to have seen.
Well, of course they did. In fact, one of the most of the artifacts that are being found. Some of the buildings that were fortified, right? Mm-hmm. If you see a stone structure left, the same thing would happen today. If fire devoured the surface of the planet, the only thing that would be left of a house is the footer. You wouldn't see the plastic.
That's
you
true.
would not see the metal. You would only see the footer, the stone.
Right? Yeah.
Same thing happened in the ancient world. Everything else was devoured, right? Many things were devoured, and the only thing that was left was stones. And so what they did do was they put a warning in the stones. The pantheons, when they talk about all these different gods in certain religions, Stonehenge, right, all these different things, they point to a celestial calendar.
Yes.
They're telling people that there's an event we did not know about, but our fathers did, that came and took us by surprise. And they wanted their children's children's children to know it was coming back again. Just as we have the 4 seasons, we have bigger seasons that certainly do take effect. And they were warning us it's coming back again. They have dug down in the earth. You're looking at thousands of feet, right? How can they continue to find civilizations at 35,000
I'm glad you're bringing that up.
Because,
BP Earthwatch, he actually shows us 5 different underground civilizations. Literally shows it to us. Because you can go down in them and they're still there. So
the
people
deeper you go, the more advanced they become.
Yeah. So they lived. Now, we talk about now that they're building underground cities so that they can survive the apocalypse. We know they're doing that. And we have a lot of different type technology for ventilation and genetically altered food, to grow with artificial suns. These people were under the ground in caves, but they had sophisticated ways to live. Can you talk about that? I mean, how in the world?
Well, plus, and they chose spots. Okay, you have to be pretty advanced to have an understanding that the best place to put an underground city is inside of a volcano. Right?
That's
Think
crazy.
about it. The magma eats up the chamber. Right?
Yeah.
It solidifies the walls like glass, vitrification, and it leaves these large voids inside the earth where they build things. Yes, they have cities that now that people can go and look. They can't really go down there, but they can look and pass. Paul, when you go down there and look, as far as your eye can see, they're buildings. Right?
That's crazy, but I know it's true.
As far as your eyes can see, they have found caverns that are just, a person could live down there all their lives and never even desire to come topside. You can picture that being inhabited. It is an amazing look.
Then there's 2 questions for you. Number 1, and BP actually shows us 5 different civilizations. Go back, Tepe.
Göbekli Tepe.
Yeah, and then there's 4 others over in Turkey. He shows us these 5 civilizations actually where they went down in them, and shows us how there's still tools down there that they used. Yeah. Okay, that's my first question. Incredible.
And the ones, these ones that they have where people can actually go and see. Do you not know that even underneath them
is more,
or even more? Yep.
Now, my question to you is, how did they had to know that the only way they were going to survive was to go underground, and there's civilization.
Yes.
What was going on the top side that would cause a whole civilizations of people to have to go down that deep to live?
Same thing that's happening today. In fact, the exact same environmental issues we're facing today, they faced back then. The exact same ones, and it's already begun again. It's already started. But this time, people are they're not spiritually mature enough in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
They're just, something has zapped their discernment, right? A lot of people in this day and age right now, people want proof. They have been duped and fooled and tricked so much.
Yes.
They need proof. Well, that's fine. But the problem is the people who have the proof are the crooked ones in the first place. And they're not giving up the proof. They're going to give you some false proof.
They're not going to tell
us.
And
so that's right. And so, people have this eerie type of sensation within them. They know something is around the corner. They don't know what's around the corner, right? Yeah. And it eats it every day. I guarantee they wake up. And if they try to ignore their devices, they said, well, let me go check the news just to see what has taken place, because I think something is about to take place. I don't know what it is, but let me check so I can go throughout my day. And that is a prophecy within itself, that people would do that. That's an actual prophecy that people would do that, meaning that God gave them discernment.
Yeah.
But you have elements of evil in this world that attempt to misdirect your discernment into other areas.
No matter what it is we face, we turn to the Lord, that we look to God, the creator of all things, including technologies. He is the creator of everything. And I think the devil gets too much credit. I really do. He gets too much credit. I think God's on top.
He is.
And just thank you for telling us the truth and being here for us. I appreciate it.
Well, Pastor Paul, it's always an honor. God bless you.
The honor's mine. Always. God bless.
All right. All right.
Mike from around the world.